Hey everyone, it's Dustin with TechMD. Today I finally got my hands on a G7 Power, and it was actually a local. No one actually mailed me one in yet, and we are going to be using an aftermarket display. I cannot find genuine, but if you can, they're going to be probably a little bit more expensive. I'm hoping it's going to fit properly, so we're going to find out here shortly. I gave her a little discount, and she came to me at my place. So this is the Moto G7, as you can see, fairly cracked up. And we're going to investigate if we're going to have to open this front ways or back ways. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, just watch the video. So anyways, here we go. It's Dustin with TechMD, a little quick commercial break. We got a product called Liquid Glass that can cover your phone against $400 in damages or even $150 against damages. And it's super cheap and it's good for a whole year with no deductible. I'm going to have a link in the description below describing the whole product and how the whole process works in a separate video. Thanks for watching. Now back to the video. So these parts come in and out of stock constantly, so please just check back if you do need them. The link is going to be in the description. I've had so many people ask me, where's this link? Okay, you got the YouTube video and a little button right there that drops down all the description, and it actually has, you know, the link. So if you can't find it, I don't know how to help you with that. Okay, so this is the part here. And so if it was front loaded, right, we'd be able to actually click it this direction. So it's not. That means we're going to definitely have to go through the back side of this phone. So make sure your phone is turned off, and you're going to use a heat gun and go in circles here until it gets about warm to the touch. Okay, I'm going to use a hot plate today, and that should be enough to do what I need to do. So if you have a hot plate, put it on about 100 degrees Celsius, and I use two hot plates together and smash them. One's a metal, one's a this unit here that you can find. It's called a hot pad. And also in the link in the description, once you get to the website, you can search for it. All these tools are highly recommended to open up this device. I've never seen this device open before, so I have to guess everything I'm going to be doing here. You're going to need an iFlex, most likely an iseasmo tool, and most likely a 00 screwdriver. I like the 2 UUL, and I got a pair of tweezers just in case. And then I have our T7000 glue. This makes every Motorola repair so easy. So make sure you get some of this if you are going to do this repair. If you buy this part on Amazon, I could almost guarantee you it's going to be super low quality and pretty sketchy. This one comes with the Motorola logos, but I'm pretty confident it is aftermarket still. Okay? So once you waited the 2 minutes to warm up, you'll be able to start separating that back. Okay, so now that you got your phone warmed up, you can just set aside our hot plates. It's kind of toasty on the front and back because I did double, but remember just to use your heat gun if you don't have a hot plate or a hot pad. They're more for professionals, so if you're doing phones regularly, but it does make your life very easy. If you plan on doing multiple phones in the home, everything's glued down nowadays, so makes life easy. I'm just trying to find an entry point here. There we go. So we're not going to go too deep in there because we don't know what's underneath there, and we don't want to accidentally slice some cables. I'd say about 1/4 of an inch in. I'm actually slicing right into this plastic frame that is very pathetic. Design out of plastic, this whole entire phone. So be careful with that. So it is plastic here, so we can carefully, separate it with our fingers here. There is a fingerprint sensor reader, so just careful with that, not to take that out. I'm just peeling up. Okay, feels just like a play so far. All right, looks like we could probably lift this up and pops right out. Just set that piece aside. I'm going to set this aside here and should be able to reconnect without even having to take this out, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and set this on my hot plate to keep it nice and warm to make it easy to seal back in. So our connector looks like it's going to be coming up over here. So if we had it plugged in underneath, it'd be coming under this battery and plugging in about right there. Okay, so it is not a 00. It is going to be our, looks like T5. That's very common for Motorola's. So I got a T5 screwdriver. And if you can't tell already, all my videos are going to be always very detailed and explains step by step with audible instructions as well. I don't like to just do a video only with no speaking. I find those videos very boring anyways. So everything in my videos are always going to be spoken. If you guys ever need a different phone fixed and I don't have it on my channel, you can always request it down below in the comment section. So these T5 screws are just coming out really easy. Always having your screwdriver as magnetized is very helpful. Makes life very easy. Pull out these screws. Looks like one. Let's see if we can get that one out. Yeah, this one wants to stay in there, it looks like. Oh, never mind. It comes out just with a little bit of force. Here comes the iseasmo tool. Not too deep in there. You don't want to damage the motherboard. And just lift up as we pop this out. Okay, and then I forgot to mention that you need a plastic spudger, recommended, or you can use your fingernails, but this helps prevent you actually damaging or electrocuting the phone itself. So we assumed that this is the connector for the screen. So let's see if we can get this plugged in without clipping that cable. If you guys are interested in doing glass Motorola devices are just not possible to do that due to parts not being relatively available. Oh, I gotta plug in the battery. So what we're doing here is just testing the screen.
So it's not just the glass, it's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It takes a lot longer to separate the glass and whatnot, and most Motorolas are very difficult to remove the glass.
I had a Samsung my last two phones were Samsung.
Mm.
Both died within a year of buying it, so I was sick of buying expensive phones.
Usually we can fix them even if they die.
Yeah.
So normally you just want to touch everywhere and you can just scroll anywhere, but since it's on film I don't typically do that. But as you can see that it fully functions, so go ahead and just turn it off once you've tested your screen. Because once you glue this thing on, it's not coming off without breaking it off usually. So you definitely want to test it. Okay, so the next step is to go ahead and just disconnect your cables. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to remove this battery. Most batteries on Motorola's are very glued on and they don't like to come loose. Besides this, we don't want to ruin this cable that's running down here. So let's go ahead and warm this sucker up. I recommend putting it on your heat gun on this side for probably a good 45 seconds. If the screen turns yellow, it's fine, you didn't damage anything, but that's when you know you're absolutely at your top end limit for heat. So don't go beyond that. And yeah, just put it on the hot plate or pad for 2 minutes if you are not using a heat gun. I like to use the hot plates and hot pads because the heat is more consistent. Anyways, we're just going to fast forward through time and wait for this to be done. Okay, so if you're working on a hot plate, what you want to do is remove this while it's on the hot plate. If you're working with a heat gun, you got to move quick, but make sure you get it hot. So remember, if you get to the screen a little yellow, it's fine. It's not a problem. These batteries are $25 to $30, something like that, I do believe. So you don't want to tear these batteries. They're also, most of Motorola's are permanent. And so if you decide to puncture this, it could light on fire. They're designed not to be repaired, these phones. It's just Motorola wants you to go buy a new one. But if you're confident in doing this, just be really cautious, take your time, use the heat gun multiple times if you need to, but it should come up fairly easy, okay? Remember, there's a cable under here somewhere, and you don't want to damage that cable. You also want to make sure that your power connector is disconnected. So we're going to take an iseasmo tool, the blunt side of it here, and we are going to commence the pry of shame, as Jerry Riggs everything has said. Okay, so we don't want to bend it too much because once again you can light things on fire. So we're still not really getting much leverage from this. Oh, see, we don't want to do that. Let's try over here. My hot plate is on 100 degrees Celsius right now, if you didn't see that. So the reason why I'm going to attack it from this and stop right about here is because that cable is weaving somewhere right here. So we're going to try to get under here a little bit and then pull it up. I'm going to try our spludger first and see if we don't crack it. Probably going to. We need something thinner. Well, let's just try to get our tools under here. Now we can take a peek under here and see where that cable's weaving. Looks like we got already above it, which is good. The battery got warped just a tad, but we're just going to bend it back to flat.
It's not going to be affected?
No, a bit too much. And then you just don't want to make sure you don't have any puncture marks, or you'll definitely lose some quality in the battery. And plus it's kind of dangerous to have it punctured. So if it is punctured, just need to replace your battery. So we're just moving this piece out of the way. We'll move this piece out of the way. Comes nice and loose when it's nice and warm. And we're going to flip the phone around and start the prying process. So remember, you got to get this nice and warm with the heat gun. Usually takes about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Mine was already warm because of my hot plate. A lot of my videos show heat gun and how to use it. So if you're confused, you can always watch some of my older videos on how to use a heat gun. If your phone is too hot, just wear some gloves. I can usually take some of this heat, not a problem. So we want to make sure that plastic frame does stay down there. That's really important. So that's what we're going to put the new screen on. You see why you can't do glass repair? I'm already damaging the backlight and LCD right now, just getting this off. And if you go hotter, then you'll probably just make the screen turn yellow.
Yeah. That screen, the glass was like chipping off while I was using it.
Gotta make sure you slice everywhere the plastic is between the plastic and the frame. You don't want to pull that plastic frame up. Very critical, guys. Keeps on wanting to pull up on me. Come on. Ugh. If you get this thing too hot, you could possibly melt that plastic frame too. Be aware of that. Mm-hmm. I need this piece here. Just set that aside. Okay, now let's clean some of this glass off. And I'll shake this off later after the repair is finished. This feels just like the G7 Play. Just the same pain in the rear foam effects. So what we're doing is analyzing the frame here and checking for glass shards. And any leftover adhesive. You want a nice flush surface? Ugh. One little glass shard right there. If you leave glass shards in there and you set the screen down, you could potentially break it. So you don't want to do that. Now the Motorola Z4 came with this plastic frame. So I don't know why the aftermarkets don't, but it would make your life a lot easier if you bought original, if it's available. But the problem is some of these screens are pretty hard to find good quality. The ones I buy, the ones I get my hands on are from my manufacturer, my wholesaler, and I trust in his quality to be there, even if it's not perfectly aligned like on the Play. What we're doing here is just removing the old adhesive because it might have some excess glass in it. So the big part is going to face down. Make sure it sticks in there. It does. Next part is the T7000 glue. I like to warm it up a little bit because I'm outside and it's cold in Utah. But just make sure it's at room temperature or a little bit above when using T7000. It comes out nice and easy when it's a little warmer. So this is a black liquid adhesive, very similar to Tessa tape. When it dries, it makes life really easy. Just cleaning off that excess here. You can actually see the glue come out. Comes off, you're going to need to use a little bit of super glue to stick that frame back on. Okay, now that you've applied the adhesive all around, you go ahead and insert this in. Pull off this so you can check alignment. We're going to align the top first. Make sure the cable is pulled through enough. It is. I'm going to slowly seal that right there.
I don't see a gap from here.
Well, we'll find out here. The black glue does a good job of hiding any gaps, but it's a lot more significant on the play than this phone looks like.
Nice. Might have been more made for this one, maybe.
This one might be 1/4 millimeter off, but
I don't care.
Oh.
Seriously, you saw how scratched up that thing or broken up that thing was. This is nothing compared to that. It was horrible.
So you want to hold this down for a full minute to make sure you have good compression on there and a good seal. If you don't, warm it back up slightly and then reseal it by holding it down. Oh, you brought your card, so that's all that matters.
It's a gift card. It's not gonna...
Oh. Yeah, I should be done in about 10 minutes. Okay. All right, let's check it here. Looks like we made a good seal. If you notice it popping up, then you haven't done it for long enough. Oh, looks like we got a little bit more pressure over here. So what we're doing today here is just cleaning the excess glue. Looks like I used a little too much, and so we got it on some of the screen and on the sides. And so just, you can rub a lot of it off and clean some of it off with the microfiber rag. But eventually it'll rub off, so it's not a problem. Go. Oh, it's just I used too much, and it's slightly off just by a millimeter or a half or a quarter millimeter actually. So the glue is coming up a little bit as I'm cleaning. And look at that! I pressed too hard and cracked it.
Oh no, the screen?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's pretty bad. Look how easy it is to crack. That's your typical Motorola junk. Okay, I'm gonna reapply the screen and then restart over. Okay, so I decided just to leave the plastic on and use a little bit less T7000 glue this time around, and I double checked that corner to make sure there was no excess glass or anything like that. Usually a screen cracking like that when cleaning it is due to like excess glass. So something happened. Not too sure. Maybe I did too much pressure. I was scrubbing pretty hard to get that glue off. So we're going to go ahead and connect this plastic cable. Flatten it out as much as we can here. I don't like that, so what we're going to do here is pull this up, push it flat down, and then try to connect it. That's not fun. Try that again. Now push it in. There we go. Okay, now that we got the cable connected, we're gonna go ahead. I mean, this glue is already way strong enough. We don't need to reapply any glue. I like to usually connect the battery first if I can, but in this case I can't. Without a challenge. Okay, and then we can put the back on here. Okay, so these clips go underneath like this. Push inward, then you can clip down. Grab our T5 screwdriver and let's screw these down. Now I do organize my screws on my plate just in case it varies in screw size. But it looks like they're all the same, but you never know on phones. So I like to keep things organized. Use my finger to help alignment there. Just press down a little bit, make sure it's clipped in. This seems like it has enough adhesive everywhere around where we really don't need to reapply it. Just clip this cable back in carefully. Just try to use some tweezers to do it. I also warmed it up, but you can warm it up after you put it on as well. That just helps the stickiness of the glue. You can reapply more glue if you like for T7000. That requires a little bit of pressure to get back in. And then I think these are clipped all around, so just press in to get the clips. Make sure you have a good seal, and then you can go ahead and kick it on. Test it from here, and that's about it. Just clean off the excess glue as much as you can. Be nice to it not to do too much pressure as well. All right, there we go. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I would say do not attempt this unless you feel really confident. This is going to be a very challenging repair, and even a professional broke the screen applying it. So just got to be really careful about doing this repair. If you want to mail it in to me, you can. The link in the description, or there is my email in the description, and you can email us to find out what address to mail it into and what the current price is. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. You have a good one. Please like and subscribe.